Hello everyone and welcome to the free class for August. Now I had planned to be here live this week, but unfortunately things haven't quite settled as expected. As you know, my house flooded about 5 weeks ago, so it's been a little bit of a challenging time. I promised to update you on my next Facebook Live rather than do it over this video. So I'm hoping to be back to do a Facebook Live most likely the week after next. So still a couple weeks away, but it's getting closer. So for this month's free class, we are using Painterly Pears Designer Series paper. So let me show you this paper. This paper is a part of an online exclusive. Okay, it also has other products including a stamp set and bundle. It does have, I think, maybe some ribbon embellishments as well as a part of the suite. So I've only got the designer series paper, which is often all I get because there's lots you can do with designer series paper. So I'm going to show you one side of 4 full sheets, and the other couple of sheets I've only got offcut, so I'll share those with you in a moment. So there is a nice selection of colours. You have a busier pattern on one side, less busy on the other, which makes it a little bit more versatile. Okay, so let me flip these pieces over and show you the reverse side. So there are some nice colours in this paper. As mentioned, you have one busy side, one less busy, a more neutral sort of pattern. So here are the last couple of sheets, and the dark blue in this is the Secret Sea, which is one of the new in colours. And there's that sheet there. I think this is one of my favourite. I love the dark blue background. Let me share with you the 2 other sheets of the 6 different designs. As I mentioned, I only have partial sheets of these because I have used quite a few of these as well. So we do have the pears on one side, and on the reverse side of this one, we just have a little bit less busy pattern just with that leaf. So the 2 colours in here, we have got the lighter green is Old Olive and the darker is Mossy Meadow. The final sheet, I've only got a few offcuts left. So this is the final sheet, and I have got one piece that I've been able to line up. So this has the frame all the way around all 4 sides, and then you can cut that up and use it on a card front on its own. So that is a nice versatile option with this particular piece. Add a sentiment, you're ready to go. And then if I flip it over the other side, it just has this nice neutral sort of pattern. Okay, so those are the sheets, including a couple of offcuts, because as I mentioned, I've actually used this paper quite a bit this month. It's also the paper that will be featured in the monthly card class as well. Okay, so extra products you'll need to complete your cards for this class. I am using Simply Said stamp set, which is one that I use most of the time. It's a great sentiment stamp set. It covers the basics, and it's only a $30 stamp set, so it's really good value as well. This one is almost brand new. I did purchase a second one of these stamp sets to keep at my husband's place as well. So it is a brand new one, almost brand new. The 2 ink pads I'm using is Secret Sea. If you don't have Secret Sea, I would recommend Night of Navy. And there's also Mossy Meadow as well. And this is the old style ink pad. Still works brilliantly though. It's got a lot of life left in it. So those are the 2 colours. If you don't have Mossy Meadow, choose another green. If you've got Old Olive, that'll work perfectly as well. So those are the extra couple of products that you will need to complete the cards. So this is the first one. So we are doing some fussy cutting, and I will stop the video while I do that just so that it doesn't take up too much extra time. The circle is from Stylish Shapes, which is one of my favorite die sets. So that is a really great one. We've used a couple of pieces of the designer series paper. We've got some Mossy Meadow, and this is Petal Pink. So let's get started, and I'll show you what you've got in the kits for this card. You'll have, of course, an envelope, which I haven't got one in my kit because I don't really need it. Let me just grab these things out of the little plastic bag. Okay, so you'll have a half sheet of Mossy Meadow A4 for the card base. You'll have 2 pieces of white, which measure 10 centimeters by 14.4. There is a 3rd piece of Mossy Meadow, and this one measures 11 centimeters by 8. And we've got, what have we got here? And for the petal pink, 10.5 by 7.5. 2 pieces of designer series paper. The first one measures 4.5 by 10, and the second is a little bit wider. This one measures 5 by 10, so just half a centimetre difference in those two. You'll have a 1 centimetre strip of designer series paper, and that is to go on the inside of the card to finish it off. A die cut circle from Stylish Shapes to stamp your sentiment on. You'll have a cutout of a couple of pears, which will be fussy cut, and you'll also have there 3 of these little gems, and I can't remember the exact name of them because names of products elude me a little bit at the moment. Okay, so let's get started on this one. Now I am actually doing this video from a different location, but most things are going to be from a different location for a while. Okay, card base, folding that one in half. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the front. So you'll need 1 piece of the 10 centimetre by 14.4. I am going to begin by sticking my 2 pieces here, so the petal pink to the Mossy Meadow. I'm using Stamp and Seal, which is what I usually use. Of course, you go ahead and use whatever adhesive you would normally use for your card making. So the Tombow glue, or the green glue, that is a really great option as well. However, with that, I do recommend using a little less than what you think you need. And with the Stamp and Seal, not too heavy with your pressure, a little tick just to break the stream. Okay, so I'm going to be putting this one on the angle around about there. Now for this card, let me just bring it in again. If you would like these to be a little bit straighter, not offset as much as what I've done, you go ahead and just position everything on the card front first. Don't stick it down until you're happy with how it's sitting. Okay, my next piece. I've got my piece of the green, making sure that's going in that direction there, and then that one is going to go around about there. Actually, I think that's fairly straight, so I'll put that around about there. So you can just play with the positioning until you get them in a place that you're happy with. Okay, so a little bit of Stamp and Seal, and this is a little bit of an angle, not too much, and I've got my second piece to stick down as well. And I want to put it up that way, but then the pears are hanging upside down, so I'll go this way with it. That is going to go around about there. Okay, so far I haven't used any dimensionals. They are coming. My next step, now that this piece is completed, is to stick this to the card front. And of course, if you'd like some extra layers, go ahead and pop your dimensionals on underneath your piece of white. I'm going to try and keep this a little flatter than what I normally would, just for it to go in the post. Okay, my next step, I need to do my stamp on the die cut circle. So I have done this one as birthday wishes, but I actually think that, yeah, I'll do that. I was going to do a thank you, but I think the next card I might do is a thank you card. Okay, so the happy birthday, which is so beautiful and clean and no staining at all. So nice when you have a new photopolymer stamp set. And I've got Mossy Meadow. And I'm just going to give my stamp just a quick test run, because this one just seems a touch wet. Okay. Yeah, it hasn't worked so well. That's okay. I think I re-inked this ink pad a little while ago, and I think I put too much ink into it, so I might stick it up the other way. Okay, so as you can see with that wet ink pad, you might get a little tiny smear. Not perfect, but that's okay. All right, next step, some dimensionals to put this onto my card front. I am using minis, and of course you can use your standard size if you like. And I think one more. And using the take your pick tool with the little piercing tool on one end, you can stab into those backs of your dimensionals and flick the covers off. Okay, so next I'm putting this onto my card front, which is going to go around about there. I'm just going to leave a little bit of space off to the right because my pears need to sit there. Okay, before I put my my little embellishments on, I am going to fussy cut my pears. So here they are here. Okay, I just paused the video just for a few moments so that I could cut the pears out. Of course, I always use paper snips. They are really great little scissors to use when you're cutting out anything. They are nice and sharp, and they're nice and fine as well. Okay, so my pears are going to be stuck off to one side. I don't think I've got that in the right spot. I need to move my sentiment. So I am switching out the take your pick tool to get my spatula end. Oops. And that is just going to slide underneath and just lift up those dimensionals, just so that I can give myself a little bit of extra room. And this is a great tool to use just so that you don't rip the cardstocks underneath. And as you can see, I was able to get that off nice and cleanly, and I still have pretty much my dimensionals intact. Okay, so that's going to sit about there. So I'm going to reposition that circle just a little bit. Okay, so that can go just there like that. I am going to put a piece of dimensional just underneath this pear here. Oops, I'm going to flick this around back to the piercing tool and just flick the back of that off. And I'm actually going to be using a little bit of the Tombow glue just down this side of the pear and the leaves, just so that these will stick onto the die cut. Okay, so that is that bit taken care of. Oh, I think I might have used a little bit too much. That's okay. I haven't done much crafting in the past month. I think in total for, well, nearly 5 weeks, I have made, I'm going to say 4 cards, which 2 for tonight, for today's class, and also 2 for the monthly card class as well. So I haven't done much at all, even though I would really love to. Okay, so to finish off the card front, I do have my little embellishments. Like I said, I can't remember what the name of these ones are. I am using the take your pick tool with the putty end, and that will just make it very easy to slide the embellishment off. I've got one there, and of course where I've got the smear, I don't think I can actually cover it. And the second one, okay, a little bit more just to finish off on the inside. So you'll need your second piece of white that measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, and also your 1 centimeter strip of designer series paper. And of course you can choose to use the other side if you would like to. So I am going to use a little bit of the thin double-sided tape, and I'm going to start by putting that down one side of my white cardstock. Peel that off, and I'm going to stick my strip of designer series paper down. Now you'll find that this is a little longer than your piece. That way then you can get your scissors and trim up those little, just snip those little ends off. And of course you can have this lined up with the edge of the cardstock. I leave a little bit of white down here, but you can have that right on the edge if you would like to. Okay, so this will be stuck inside my card, and I'm using some Stampin' Seal. And this will finish off card number 1 of 2. Okay, so this will go in the inside, and then there we go. Card number 1 is complete. Okay, I'm going to pop those aside, and let's start on number 2. So again, this one is using the same designer series paper, the same stamp set, and we're just using one of the bigger pears from one which has been fussy cut as well. I do have the circle. I've used one from Spotlight on Nature. I just like that little bit of detail because it does have that dark color underneath. And of course I've used the Hello from Simply Said and Secret Sea ink for that one. We've got a little bit of Baker's Twine as well, just to give it a little bit more to look at. Oops, sorry, I was holding that up a bit too high. So that's card number 2. So let's go through the products that you have for card number 2. So, oops, let me get that out of the way. Half a sheet of the thick white A4, and it has been pre-scored. There are 2 pieces of Secret Sea that measure 10 centimeters by 14.4. There is 1 piece of white that measures 9.5 by 13.9 for the inside. Now a piece of designer series paper, and this one measures, let me just double check. Whoops. Check the size. This one measures 10 centimeters by 10. This will be stuck onto one of the pieces of the Secret Sea. The die cut circle. Now this pear comes in 2 pieces, so we've got the body of the main part of the pear plus the stem and the leaves, and you'll also have 2 pieces of white Baker's Twine. One is long enough to go over the card, and the other one is about 25 centimeters to tie the bow. So just remember when you're using these, and I'll remind as we're going as well, the longer one is to tie the bow. Okay, so let's move some of these products aside, and to begin with, I'm going to fold my card base in half. Okay, so far so good. Right, to do the outside, we'll start with that. I've got 1 piece of my Secret Sea. This measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. And I've also got my piece of 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter designer series paper. So I'm going to be sticking those 2 pieces together to begin with. Oops. There we go. And just have a look and see which way your pears are going, because you don't want those to be on the side. Okay, so far so good. Before I continue on with this, I need my short piece of baker's twine, and this piece measures, let me grab my ruler, measures about 14 centimeters, so it is the shorter of the two. And I am going to need some sticky tape just to secure the ends of the baker's twine. So the baker's twine is going to sit where the designer series paper meets the Secret Sea cardstock. Tuck that behind, and I am using a little bit of sticky tape. You could certainly use a piece of double-sided tape if you would like to use that instead. And then the other end as well. Okay. So with this piece, I'm going to put some dimensionals behind it and stick it onto the card front. I think that's what I've done. Yeah, we're using dimensionals. Okay, where's my sheet? Here we go. And take your pick tool. Okay, now I know I haven't been sharing much lately, but I hope you've all had a chance to do some card making or scrapbooking, just something that helps to relax you a little bit. Now, of course, this weekend was planned to be retreat, which I hope you've seen that I have rescheduled that event until October. So there's still time to register for that event. So I'm hoping a few people will be able to join me. So that will be the last retreat. So the October retreat will be the last one for the year, and I'll plan for next year and get those dates out to you later in the year. Okay, so onto my card front. Nice and easy. All right, I'm going to now cut out my two pieces of the pear, so the pear and also the stem and leaves. I am going to press pause just while I do this. Okay, those are cut out, which they're a simple cutout, so hopefully they won't take you too long. So there are those ones, right? So my next step is my sentiment. So I think I'm going to make this one into a thank you card, because I've got a few people I need to give some thank yous to. Okay, so this is going to be thanks, and I will be using the Secret Sea ink for this one. And before I start, I'm just going to stick my pear, just on top of the circle there, just so I can see where to line that up. Okay, as mentioned, we've got Secret Sea. Just give this one a test stamp. That's good. Okay, and then thanks to go on there. Okay, that's the stamping done for this one. So it is nice and simple. So my next step, I'm going to be putting some dimensionals underneath the pear. So maybe 4 or 5 pieces is about all I'll need. Maybe an extra. Okay, and as I have said many times, stabbing into the back of those little papers with the piercing tool just to get those covers off nice and easy. So I'm going to put my pear on next, and I'm also going to put a couple of dimensionals as well underneath the leaves. So probably just one piece on each side. If you are using the standard size dimensionals, you may need to just trim those in half, just so they don't hang over the designer series paper. So again, stabbing into those with the piercing tool. onto the pear. Okay, again, some more dimensionals to stick this onto my card front. Oh, obviously I was doing a template for something on this. So for those who are playing along, if you've got some pencil marks on the reverse side of your circle die cut, don't worry, it's on the back. So it was a template that I had drawn up for something. Okay, so just getting the back off the dimensionals. And as we all know, every piece of cardstock has two sides, so often you'll see anything I make, it actually does have something on the reverse side as well. I'm going to position this roughly halfway where the baker's twine is, but I'm going to have it just a touch higher, just to give me a little bit of room to tie the bow. Around about there. So this is the piece that measures around 25 centimeters. I'm going to be sliding that underneath that piece of baker's twine that I put on earlier. And I'm just going to tie the bow, and it's just like a shoelace bow. Actually, it's exactly what it is. Now, if you don't want to tie it on like this, you can tie your bow how you normally would and stick it on with a glue dot. But this is just as easy. I'll just trim up that little edge there. So almost done. We just need to finish the inside. So I have got here my second piece of Secret Sea, which measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. And I've got my piece of white that measures 9.5 by 13.9. So they all just match really nicely together. So again, some Stamp and Seal, double-sided tape, Tombow, whatever you like to use. And again, your adhesive on the back of the Secret Sea, and then this will go into my card front, or card base I should say. So here we go. Now, if you do have any questions about either of these projects, please let me know. Just leave me a message on the video and I will respond to that as soon as I can. Alternatively, just drop me a message and I can answer your questions for you. So there are the two cards that we've made. One, I think I've stuck down a little bit straighter than the other. I think I've missed the mark on the first card just a little bit, but that's okay. Sometimes we don't get everything perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, I would have loved to have been live with you tonight, but it hasn't worked out in my favor. The other thing too, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then as I upload more videos, you'll be able to see those because you'll get a notification for that. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these two cards made, and if you're making them, I hope you really enjoy them too. But I'm looking forward to being back to a little bit normality very soon. So I'm going to be joining you live, hopefully in the next week or so. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.